I think that there's some parents who are like, okay, let's bring as many professionals as we can. There's like that kind of group of people. And then there's the other group where it's like, no, we need to just do it all on our own. I think it depends on what each parent has grown up with in their own homes. I think that sometimes they've had parents who have seen counselors throughout their life and they're used to that, talking about their experiences. Whereas there's some families who have been very closed and they don't really talk about their feelings. So I think it's that kind of demographic of parents who, if they are feeling like, oh, I don't know, I think that even more so, they could use the most help, just to be able to open up about their emotions, and just to be able to start fresh with their kids, just to give them that language, because maybe they themselves haven't had the language just to talk about their feelings. Um, and so, what a great opportunity to have for your children if they could use that support. The feelings of shame and of guilt and just like regret, I think that's so common in all parents. We always wish like, oh, I wish I had put my child in a different situation, or I wish I had done it this way, or I wish I had worked on myself a bit more before having kids. Like there's always going to be those kind of outside messages, and also just internal ones of like wishing that we could do better for our kids. And I mean, I could totally relate to that. I've personally had to go through quite a bit of therapy as a young adult, and in my own family, going to see a counselor or therapist wasn't a thing. Like my family being an Asian family, and mental health was never really put on the forefront. It's definitely like if you have a heart issue, you go to the doctor, but it was never like I'm going through some things, I need to go see a counselor. That wasn't really part of my upbringing. And so in my 20s, when I was going through some major anxiety and depression, making that decision to go see someone, it was a tough one because I didn't have really much guidance. So, I mean, my message to parents or just anybody out there who's going through stuff, it's so much more common to go see a counselor and a therapist than they might think. Um, and I think it really depends on what you're used to. If your family was a family that talked about things and was open to going to seeing a professional, then you're more likely to go do that. But for those of us who didn't grow up with it, um, yeah, it can seem kind of weird. It can feel like there's a stigma around it, but really there's there's so much you can get out of counseling and so much you can get out of therapy that, in my own personal experience, I think that going against the grain, against the grain of what your family is, used to, I think there's definitely more positives